Hello, 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 and welcome. What do stories say? I'm here again telling our stories, our whispered stories, or traditions long and forgotten. And every now and then it's good to re examine some of these traditions. And I'm looking at games we played, but they're worth examining, don't you think? Last time I talked about friendships, you know, courting for friendship. And we're going to the playground and the schoolyard to see what we can gather. And you see, in yardology, which we're going to talk about today, schoolyardology, it's a big thing. And these are topics that we need to re examine. So come in, sit down, loud talk story. Batty license. Yeah, know what's batty license? Hey. Not that we're thinking about. Don't be nasty. It's not that. Good. In Guyanese and Caribbean parlance, we get a word we just call batty. Batty is another word for buttocks. You're behind. Your nether regions. You're after. Those are the things we say. And people, when they talk about batty, it's not really a comfortable conversation. But in this case, we're talking about the schoolyard and batty license. Anybody ever play batty license? Mostly boys used to play batty license. I don't remember girl playing batty license too much. But let me tell you about this game that they used to play. Just like how you're cutting for friendship, you just join up this thing for batty license. I don't know if you're cutting for that or what. But guys used to play. And this is how you would see it happening. Let's say you and your friends stand up in a corner, you're playing hopscotch or something. Or you go to buy mitai from Miss Ruby next to the school. You know, they have the vendors and so on there. And you stand up there. All of a sudden you hear whacks. Just up. Somebody clap a good slap on somebody buttocks. And the person say, ow! And you thinking now fight gonna break out, but fight can break out because when the lash hit the buttocks, they say batty license. These two people agree that if you don't put your two hand pan your bamsy, so whole day you giving another person batty license to clap you on the butt. Now I can't even begin to understand what is the rationale for that. Why is it somebody can give another person permission to hit them on the buttocks? But that was how kids played back in the day. Now, what do I have to say about that? I don't know where that comes down as a helpful social practice. All I could say, maybe these are boys being boys, rough housing. It can also mean something on the other end of the spectrum where people are exerting aggression, and mostly male aggression, on each other. Because somehow in society it says that boys should be tough and they toughen up. And I'm pretty sure if you get the lash, you're not going to cry because you're the one who decide to join that game. How parents felt about that, I have no idea. But I know if you lay hands on somebody, then you open yourself for aggression and fights. When I was going to school, fights were the order of the day. There was a lot of fighting going on. I don't condone fighting, but we have to look at these things and look at what kind of impact they had on society and on children. Because I remember when I was going to one school, my uncle was the principal of that school. And I went from Prep A, Prep B, I think Standard 1. And by I went Standard 2 as well. And in Standard 3, I transferred to the school across the street. And from what I overheard from adult conversations, my uncle was sent to that school to clean it up because every Friday was fighting day. Can you imagine that? Friday was fighting day at that school. They always fought. Children were always fighting around the village. So my uncle went to clean that up. And boy, he did. He did. You see, when Monday morning comes, he said, who was fighting? And everybody quiet in the school. We had school halls, a big schoolhouse with chalkboards dividing the school. So when he would ring out his voice and he would ask who was fighting, pin drop in the school. And he would call all the fighters up. And if he didn't find the fighters, there was a little friend of mine. She the one who we used to go and get the guava. She. When he called on her, and he asked, who was at the fighting? She said, Mr. Griffith, I know. And he said, go find them. God help you. When she come down those classrooms, she started looking so. He been there. And them boys say, me been there. She said, yes, you been there. You been there. And he said, come on up. You got to go up. They had a guy named Cautious, man. One time she fingered Cautious. She said, Cautious, you been there. Cautious said, me been there. Cautious been a fight. I don't know if he always a fight, but he was one. When my uncle bring all people on the stage at the school to make a public example of them, stage full picnic, all who fighting. And here's what he say. He said the upholder is worse than the thief. So if you fight, yes, you're in trouble. But the people who go to the fight are going, hey, they in trouble too. Because fighting had a kind of politics around it, system. You just don't fight like that. You get the onlookers who, as the blowers showing, are going, hey. Yeah. So that was to be stamped out. So I'm looking at the trajectory from Batty license all the way there because people are putting hands on other people. Are we playing these kind of games again? I'm sure kids found it to be fun. I don't mean to say it wasn't fun and all of that. Maybe in some cases, we have to look at it like nowadays, children can't roughhouse because everything is so serious. Maybe back then they didn't take it so seriously. Or maybe it bothered people, but they didn't have the wherewithal or the means or the strength to stand up and say, I didn't want to be a part of that, but then you join. So it could be like social pressure that they join these things where they can get hit on the buttocks as Batty license. So I was looking up, what are the consequences of aggression and aggressive behavior in case it's happening? With aggressive behavior, some children feel threatened. And as a result, children who feel that kind of social pressure might act out in many ways. Some might withdraw, become a shell of themselves. Others might become aggressors themselves. One of the ways I see that kind of behavior displayed in schools is a student dropping from an A grade to a C or a D. It's the kid who suddenly becomes isolated. Yeah, those things happen. And like I said before, ostracism is a big deal. So I want to know, in your life, have you been involved in situations where you've seen kids negatively affected by aggressive behavior from others? What are teachers doing about those things? Are they still happening in country schools, in village schools, even city schools, in Guyana, or wherever you find yourself? What have your experiences been with games like Batty License? That's the only one I know about. I don't know of others. If you know of others, let's talk this thing. And remember, this is not just Pauline's story. I just don't tell all the stories. I give you a chance to tell your story and join the conversation. So you can join by talking about what resonates with you, what you can relate to, or what you cannot relate to. How does that work for you? Where I work here, aggressive behavior is not tolerated at all. That doesn't mean that bullying doesn't happen. It happens. Yeah, there's a name for it here in Japan. Let's have a full conversation about this, if you so desire. And remember, click that button, push like, comment, follow, or subscribe. You're getting this like I'm doing right now because I can't find the end of the footage that I made last week. I made it a week ago because I have a lot of things going on right now. and I can't find it. So I'm doing it this way because today is not filming day. All right. Remember, I appreciate you being on this program and sharing your comments. These are rich discussions that we need to have or re-examine. What else am I not saying? What am I missing in this conversation? Those of you in the front lines teaching young kids, I want to hear from you. And that's it, people. You're looking at our library area, our living commons. This is Japan, and I teach engineering, in case you're asking. Walk good. Talk to you next time.